Lately I've been thinking about this life and how it brought me here. Staring at this man in the mirror, I see him often here. Wipe my tears, only if you knew what I was going through. Only if you walked it in my shoes. Certain things don't like to talk about, but I'll always remember. The chaos in my mind turned my heart out in November. I'm surrounded by too many doors.
Welcome back to the Messages of Hope podcast, where the hope stands for hearing other people's experience. My name is Adam.
My name is Mike, and today we have a special guest in the studio today. We have
Gilbert.
Yeah, welcome, Gilbert.
Yeah,
thank you guys.
Yeah,
Nice to be here. Appreciate
so just give a little context. I've known Gilbert for a few months now. We started working together, and when we were working, I actually asked Gilbert to share his story with the clients, right? And I'm sitting there, right? And usually when people share, I'm on my phone doing other work or whatever, right? Like this is a good time for me to just like, whatever. I don't got to run the group. I don't got to do any of that, right? And I started hearing Gilbert's story, and I was like, well, I put down my phone.
Both
right?
phones.
Both phones. Yeah, my work phone and my personal, right? And I started listening, bro, and it was very captivating because Gilbert's a very chill dude, you know what I'm saying? And he doesn't talk a lot, but when he talks, everything he said had a lot of substance that day, you know what I'm saying? And everybody was quiet. So yeah, so I'm really grateful that you came this way and were willing to do this with us. And yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into it, Gilbert. So what was it like for you growing up?
You know, growing up was actually good. You know, I had a good home life. You know, I got an older brother, a younger sister, a younger brother. And home life was good, you know, really up until about 10 years old, where both parents had to work. I grew up in a very poor neighborhood. I grew up in Linwood, which is right next to Compton and Southgate.
Okay.
You know, so it was real ghetto over there, you know. And once my parents went, you know, both of them went to work, you know, they kind of left us by ourselves, you know. So come 11 years old, I just got into 6th grade. And my older brother, he was supposed to go to junior high, right? But their neighborhood was too rough. So my parents sent him to my grandma's house out there in like Artesia, Norwalk area.
Okay.
You know, so I didn't have an older brother anymore, you know. And for some reason, I had this beef with these Samoans that live right next to me, and this family was like 15 deep. You know, I mean, Samoans tend to have quite a few kids, and I kept getting beat up by them. You know what I mean? But one day, I caught one of them. You know. And I put it on him, you know what I mean? The next day, him and his older brothers came and jumped me, you know, broke my arm, you know, really gave me a nice little beating.
How old were you? 10?
I was 11 years old.
Okay,
I
11.
just turned 11 when this happened. And so I had the bright idea. This is a couple days after, and I got my cast now, right? And I remember going into the bathroom. This is elementary school, you know, and I saw him taking a piss. And I beat the shit out of him with that cast. I put it on him just like he gave it to me. You know, I gave it back. Turned out to be a pretty bad mistake because the following day, you know, I'm coming out of the same bathroom, walking to the playground, and I see his older brother, and I barely saw the bat in his hand before he hit me right in the head. It just busted my head right open, you know. And I remember falling back, and I'm laying there, you know, right by the urinal, you know, and he just comes in and starts beating me with a bat, you know, broke my arm again, you know, busted me up pretty good. But he caught an assault charge, you know, assault with a deadly weapon, you know, and they put him away for about 3 months. In that time, you know, my older brother was gone. My parents were gone. You know, I got hooked up with the gang. That's when I got jumped in. Again, a little past 11 years old. I was just a kid, you know, but I finally had people, you know what I mean? And they introduced me to beer for the first time, you know, and I liked it. You know, also too, as soon as they came around with the marijuana, I'm like, well, fuck, I like beer. You know, let me hit this. And all of a sudden I like weed too. You know, they kind of pushed you to drink. You know, you want to be cool, you want to be a homie and shit, you want to be a man, you got to drink and smoke. Right. They did the same thing with sex. You know, again, I wasn't even 11 and a half before they kind of pushed you to sleep with your girlfriend. My girlfriend at the time was like 13, you know, so that's how I lost my virginity. You know, fast forward a couple months, now the older brother gets out, you know, of CYA, California Youth Authority. And when I first saw him, fuck, dude, this dude grew like 6 fucking inches. And he was swole. He looked like a man. And like, I have never been afraid of a man in my life until I saw that dude. And I knew, I go, man, he's going to fuck me up because he just did 3 months, you know.
Right.
It took about 2 weeks. You know, I was going to the 7-Eleven. You know, I was probably going to go steal some candy. I'm running the streets being stupid, you know, and I remember turning the corner and I saw him and 3 of his other brothers. And then they just beat the shit out of me, man. Must have knocked me out because I remember kind of coming to. Just as I woke up, I remember feeling and hearing my ankle break. You know, he broke my fucking ankle just stomping on me. And I guess they knocked me out again because I woke up, you know, at St. Francis Hospital down there. And what was scary about that is when I woke up, I couldn't open my eyes. They beat me so bad, both my eyes were swelled shut. Wow. Broke my nose, broke 4 of my ribs, broke my ankle, re-broke my arm. This is the 3rd time they broke my fucking arm, bro. You know, I was in the hospital for about a week until I got out, you know, and I was still all fucked up. I couldn't go to school yet. But I remember like being on my crutches. And so like my house was over here on this street, on the right side of the street. In between my house and the homie's house, we both lived on the right, was the Samoans on the left. And I remember on my crutches, right, I'm fucking trying to hurry up. And I saw a gang of them out there, bro. And I was just like, oh, fuck. You know, and when they saw me, they all just kind of ran to the house. So I'm thinking they're getting the older brother. He's going to come fuck me up again. And so I hurry up on my crutches. I go talk to the homie. I'm like, hey, dude, I go, what is going on over there? What, you see how many people there? I go, they're going to fuck me up. They go, no, not anymore. They go, nobody's going to touch you anymore because, you know, the older brother got killed. You know, and I thought it was for me. I'm like, oh, my God, dude, how can I go back to any of this stupid shit that, you know, I have people now. You know, I was with the gang, you know, and again, I thought it was because they loved me. You know, I didn't put it together till later on. It was all about, look, you just fucked up a gang member. It was retaliation now. We didn't give a fuck about what happened to me.
Right.
You know, once my parents found out what happened, they moved us from Linwood to the high desert to Apple Valley, bro. And so my neighborhood was all Mexicans and blacks. And so we moved up in 1990 in the high desert, bro, and everybody was white. You talk about shell shock, bro. You know?
Was it Palmdale?
No. Palmdale's on the western desert. This is Victorville, you know, Hesperia area. The cool thing about it is it was Candyland, man. Like, the high desert wasn't used to people like me. You know, I learned at a really young age that I can take a fucking beating, you know. So after taking beatings like that, I was never afraid of another man. Like, you know, if you talk shit, it's going to be on. In my neighborhood, you start running at the gums, you get chin checked. You know what I mean? It's not like that in the desert. Everybody's all la, 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 and all they do is talk. So I was able to start selling drugs, and anybody that fucking gave me a lip, I just beat the shit out of them.
How old were you when you guys moved to Victorville or Apple Valley?
I just turned 12 when we moved.
Okay.
So from really 11 to 12, that was a really violent time in my life.
Okay.
You know, what was kind of cool is I did kind of have homies for a while because they would pick me up, you know, like on the weekends and shit. Because again, my parents were still working, and I would come back down to the neighborhood. But that only lasted till I was about 13. Okay. You know, and then it was more, I'm just doing my thing up in the desert, selling drugs, running through all the girls because, you know, they're not used to anybody like me. You know, I'm always creased up, on point, you know what I mean? Looking for shit. And it was just, it was like Candyland.
So at 12, 13, what were you selling?
Oh, man, I was selling weed mainly. And I liked meth, but I wasn't really getting into it because it was hard to get. Yeah. Until I found a cook up there in the desert. Okay. You know, and at 13, I met a cook. And, you know, this is the 90s, bro. You know, this shit was fire. It wasn't like that bunk shit they got now, bro. This was like one little line. You're up for 2 days. Yeah. You know, so I started selling a little bit, but it was mainly weed. Okay. You know, and that was kind of like that until I got into high school. You know, I've been kicked out of school since 6th grade. All the way till I finally dropped out. Every year it was always something. It was either gang related or I got caught selling drugs. You know, a couple of times they did catch me. You know, and then for fighting, you know, violence. Back in the early 90s, they had this big old race riot in Apple Valley High School. I got expelled for that shit too. But it was like that until I dropped out. You know, and I dropped out because I got my girlfriend pregnant. You know, I had my daughter at 17. Okay. You know, and it was scary. But it was also a blessing because, you know, once I had my baby girl, it changed everything. I'm like, damn, this is mine. You know, this is my daughter, you know, and that got me out of the gang life. They weren't calling me up anyways, because I'm like fucking 100 miles away. They don't
Right.
come up here and pick me up anymore. But so that's when the drugs started getting a little bit heavier. I'm drinking too, man. I mean, I'm a full-blown alcoholic by this time. So it's just drinking, drug smoking, and then just doing lines. Back in the 90s, you did lines. It wasn't like today where everybody's smoking at Pookie and shit like that. It wasn't like that. It's the fucking mid-90s, you know what I mean? And it went on like that for a while. I had my son at 19, and I love being a parent. I love playing with my kids. It gave me joy. But I just couldn't kick the drugs or the alcohol. My dad was a truck driver, so I kind of followed in the footsteps. Once I became 21, I got my commercial license and I started driving a truck, which was cool because it got me off the drugs.
Right.
Because I'm coming to find out I'd rather have money than drugs back then. And plus I always had King alcohol. Alcohol was always there.
Right.
So like I spent 2 years over the road. I would go out for about a month and then like come home for a week, but the whole week I'm just drunk and partying. That's when the drinking just was out of control. I started working for a union outfit, Roadway, and I worked for them for 13 years until the end where the alcoholism was just too much. I was in and out of treatment already, for alcohol because trying to save my marriage, trying to please my girl. And then for work, they knew I was fucking up. By the time I resigned there, I've already been through 6 treatment centers. And nothing took, man. I didn't want it. I didn't want to quit. I'm in my fucking 20s, man. I made good money. I had the American dream, brand new home, cars paid off, the kids had everything, right? But I was fucking miserable.
Yeah.
All I did was drink because I just didn't want to. I couldn't stand myself.
Yeah.
And the situation I found myself in. I didn't like that. The American dream didn't work for me, man.
And when you have a lifestyle like that, right? When the bills are paid, the kids are taken care of, you have a home, you have all that stuff. It's harder to identify that drinking and using is a problem.
Absolutely.
Like when you're homeless, right, and you're going from dose spot to dose spot, it's like, well, yeah, obviously there's a fucking problem here, right? Even in those instances, it's still hard to grasp the idea, right? We still like convince ourselves that we have something under control, right? But when we think of unmanageability, we always like correlate that with like homelessness, unemployability, no car, no driver's license, right? But the unmanageability is also the inside, right? Yeah. Like drinking to kill myself without even knowing that I'm drinking to kill myself, right? Drinking because I hate myself and not even knowing, right? So that drinking and being miserable is a form of unmanageability in our lives. And it doesn't always have to be the outside, Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, had I loved myself, I would have never been at the bottom of the bottle over and over again, I got my first DUI in 2008. My drinking got to the point that, I was going to pick up my kids from, I think they were in middle school. And in between the middle school and my house was a bar. This was like 1:30 in the afternoon. I was already drunk 3 times over the limit. I thought it was a good idea to go to the bar just to get a drink before I go pick up the kids. I had a stick shift car. So when I'm pulling up to the bar, I had slippers on too. I'm Mexican, bro. I'm gonna wear my slippers. And it was a stick shift, and I popped the clutch, and I drove right into the fucking bar. I had one of my homies with me, and I don't remember it, but he said I hit this lady, and she kind of rode on the hood of the car. I don't remember that, but that was my first DUI, and I remember thinking, look, I'm a commercial driver. I drive for a fucking living. How the hell am I gonna get a DUI? And that's pretty much when my first marriage ended. Because, I mean, I couldn't work for a year. Bills got tight. And I was just drinking. And now I'm doing drugs again, because I'm like, I'm off for a year. Why not? I started smoking weed. And then, naturally, it's just not enough, bro. When I get too high and drunk, I need to fucking straighten out. So I started hitting up, family and started getting back into dope. 2013 was my second DUI. And right after that, I went to work and I resigned. I resigned from the union. I was a shop steward too, so I was moving up, but I was just like, I couldn't do it anymore, man. I just didn't want to live that life, And then also too, the second DUI is a lifetime ban of the commercial license, so I can never drive a truck again.
Right.
So like, what the fuck do I do? Okay, I'm already just in a divorce now. My second marriage, it was falling apart. you know, and the only thing I knew how to do to make money was sell dope.
Right.
So I got back into that.
How old were you then?
32.
Okay.
32. And then from there, it just took off. I mean, the one thing I was always been good at was selling drugs.
Right.
Like, it's from those years of like 11 through 13 when I learned the streets. I learned how to be ruthless and how it benefits you when you're in the street life, you know. And it changed everything because I was still really good at it.
Right.
And now I'm just fucked up, right? Now I'm starting to smoke, right? What I said I never do, right? Because just normal drug addicts snort lines, you know.
Yeah.
Only cluckers fucking hit the pookie. You know? That's what I used to think. And now here I am doing that shit. And now, you know, the women are getting younger. You know, my hustle was stealing RV trailers. You know, like I'd steal a $50,000 trailer and sell it for $5,000.
Right.
You know, and I learned how to clone the registration through the DMV, so it was all legit. So you give me $5,000, I'm gonna go buy a pound of dope. And as soon as I got a pound of dope, I'm gonna rent my hotel room for a month, and then I'm gonna line up the honeys that are gonna come in there, and I'm just gonna sell dope. And it was like that for fucking years, bro. The violence got out of control. Like, I mean, I was pulling guns on people for fucking my lighter going missing. And I'll never forget this one time I did it. I locked everybody up in their garage, pulled a gun on them. My fucking lighter was in my pocket, bro. I was just all fucked up, you know? I know. But 35, I met this one chick, and she introduced me to the needle. You know, she told me, I'm going to shoot you up with this. And she was hot. She was a young little honey. She was like 23, beautiful little girl, you know. And she goes, I'm going to hit you with this, and we're going to have the best sex of your life. I mean,
Ain't that the truth?
What am I going to say? Fucking no.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, you're going to hit me with
Yeah.
this needle, and we're going to have the best sex of my life? You know, and I'm thinking, okay, look, I've been an addict for a long time. I've had pretty incredible sex. So you're, you know, of course I had to say yes. You know, once you push the plunger, that changed everything, man. That changed everything.
Yeah, it rocks your world.
Well,
So, at a young age, did you have an idea of like you told yourself you'd never hit the pipe? Did you have an idea of like an addict is this if they hit the pipe, or as soon
yeah.
you had that already?
Absolutely.
I remember growing up. I grew up in the rooms, and so I had painted this picture of what an addict was by the war stories of the people that would share at these meetings, and I always told myself I wouldn't do this, and then I did that, and then I wouldn't do this, and then I did that, and then there wasn't anything I wouldn't do at the end of it. But so that never crossed your mind when you started using the needle? Like, whoa.
You know, it progressed. So, like, after snorting it, you know, and smoking the pookie, and heroin was introduced again. That, like, I'm one of those garbage cans. I don't discriminate against anything. If it gives me a head change, I'm going to fucking abuse it, period. You know,
Yeah.
it's just how I get down. You know, but once I passed the line of smoking it, you know, and then I started smoking heroin again. So, I mean, and I was curious about the needle. Like, I knew if I ever hit this fucking needle, what's going to happen? I'm going to love it. I knew it, you know, and I didn't know how to do it. I'm afraid of needles, you know.
Yeah.
But when she told me she was going to do it and give me the best sex of my life, fuck it, dude, let's find out. Fuck around, find out. Let's see. And again, you know, once it went in, but it changed everything, you know, the view of myself. Like, I realized there that I've crossed all the lines I ever had, you know, and from 35 on to 40, I pushed everybody away. My family, because I hated myself. I'm like, damn, I tattooed my arms because I started having track marks, and I didn't want people to see them. You know, I mean, that's how fast it went. Yeah, and it was just like there was nothing I wouldn't do, pushing everybody away, you know, until finally what had happened. And this, mind you now, right before I turned 40, you know, I've already been to 10 treatment centers. You know, I got to the point after the 10th one that I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to die from this disease. And I've pushed everybody I love away. I don't even give a fuck anymore. Like, I will die drunk and high. You know, I always viewed it as like I was going to burn in hell for eternity. You know what I mean? That's where I was kind of raised that way.
Yeah.
You know, there isn't any of the commandments I haven't broken. You know, so I go, well, if I'm going to spend eternity in hell, I'm going to fucking earn it. I'm going to do as many drugs as I can. I'm going to drink as much as I can. I'm going to hurt as many people as I can because why not? You know? And then what had happened, 2017, New Year's Eve, going into 2018, you know, I do a full load. I'm doing 100 units now, slamming that shit, doing my line of Xanax, and I got my big bottle of Jack. And I'm going to a house party in Victorville. And I remember meeting this woman you know, and blonde hair, blue tits, cute, you know. So of course, you know, I got to meet her, you know. And I remember talking to her, and really the next thing I remember is I'm coming to, you know, and I felt like this thud. I was like, what the fuck? And I felt like something was in my throat. I was like, damn. What? And then I felt this pressure. Turns out that I went home with her, and that following morning, her husband came home and found us both in bed, and he had just stabbed me in my throat. You know, I remember, you know, feeling that pressure, and it was cutting. I'm like, oh shit. You know, so I grabbed the knife, I pulled it out of my throat. We started fighting on the bed, and this is a big dude. You know, he was a lot bigger than me. I was like, fuck, dude. But I was finally able to get the knife away from him, and I stabbed him in the stomach. You know, and that's how I got him off of me. And I remember standing up in the bed, looking down. You know, I see him with a knife in his stomach. I see her. I don't even recognize this chick. You know, I just see blonde hair and blue eyes, you know, big tits. And as naked as the day I was born, you know, I'm just like standing there naked and blood squirting out of my throat. You know, so I run through the house to the neighbor's house. And I'm telling you, man, as naked as the day I was born, dick just flapping in the fucking wind. I'm running for my life, dude. You know, I'm holding my throat because shit was just like the gurgling. I'll never forget that. Just, because I couldn't fucking breathe. So I go bang on the neighbor's door, and this lady opens the door, and I've never seen like blood just drain from someone's face. Her face went pale white, you know, before my blood splattered all over her face. You know, and I think she was doing laundry because right away she gave me like a shirt. And I remember trying to cover my throat and my fingers actually going in my throat, you know, because they had a big asshole there. And then it was kind of like the movies, like things just kind of started to fade to black, you know. And I remember the last thing I thought was, this is going to hurt my kids, you know.
Yeah.
I woke up 3 days later in the Loma Linda ICU. So I met this chick in Victorville. The attack happened in San Bernardino, you know, so I don't even know how the fuck I got down here. That's where my addiction leads me, man. I'm just a blackout fucking drunk that'll do stupid shit, especially when I'm high. You know, a quarter of an inch, he would have severed my jugular. I'd be dead. He did cut one of my vocal cords. Like, he had a long knife, so it came in from this side, and it cut my vocal cord on the left side. So it went in the right top of my neck, came through because it was fucking long. It had a long knife. And so vocal cords are like rubber bands. You know, so like any type of sound, it's vibration. So they basically sewed it together, and any type of noise or anything that I made, oh my God, the pain, it felt like somebody was cutting my throat with a hot knife. It took about a month for that to finally heal to where I can talk. And like sometimes even now my voice cuts out like when I talk because it's never been the same, you know. But that's the time that I realized that something happened then that I didn't want to die. I didn't want to die. You know, I had this dream too. Like I knew I died. You know, I remember having to write to the doctor because I couldn't talk. So I wrote on a little pen and paper and pad. I asked him, I go, I died, right? And he looked at me. He goes, what do you mean? And I started pointing it again. He goes, well, your heart stopped for a beat second. He goes, as soon as we hit you with the defibrillator, you came right back. And he goes, how did you know that? Because the dream I had, like I knew I died, all right? And I didn't see no fucking light. Jesus didn't come down, okay? It was cold, it was dark, and it scared the shit out of me. You know, I think that was my higher power now letting me know that this is it. Like the 2 DUIs before, everything that I've gone through before, my higher power trying to tell me I had a problem, I just wouldn't listen. You know, it took him having to have a man cut my throat for me to finally wake up and be like, wait a second, I don't want to die yet. You know, and that really started my desire to want to get better. So I checked in to my 11th treatment center, IVRS in Upland. And the cool thing about that,
We're both alumni.
oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year do you guys? What year? Do you guys way before me, though, right?
Mine was like
went-
12.
I went in 15 and 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we
I
probably
went when they
discussed each
were
other.
all in the one building, and then I went shortly after they moved and had 2 buildings.
Yeah, so I went with the two buildings, the women and the men on that side.
Yeah.
I'm an OG, bro. So when I was there, it was just the one building.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. The girls were downstairs. Yeah, and I used to smuggle stuff because I had my kids with me in treatment. So I would take my daughter to daycare. Mike used to do this shit too, right? Different times, but same addict, bro, right? And so I used to take the kids down to daycare, and I would have letters in my diaper bag, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how we did letters and stuff like that.
I met my second baby mama that way.
Did you?
Taking my kids to daycare.
That's what's
And
up.
every single, every time you go there, it's like a job that they get in the house. Like a different girl gets put on the nursery duty. So through the course of like 2 weeks, I got to meet every girl on the girls' side.
Oh shit!
And
There
ended
you
up having a kid with one.
go. Well, what else are you gonna do with them? Did you guys have your phone back then? Did
No.
See,
Nope.
when I went, they let you have your phone.
The second time I went, they did.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a trip, but I kind of like how they told me. They go, hey, look, if you want to call your dealer, get the fuck out. Go ahead. I was all damn.
Yeah, they still have that attitude towards
Yeah,
it too.
like,
They're
go
like,
ahead.
somebody wants this bed, bro.
Absolutely.
If you don't want to be here,
Yeah.
pack your shit
Yeah.
and get out of here.
And I think that's what because, the treatment centers that I work on, they kind of coddle, right?
Yeah.
Like at Ivy Res, they didn't like the people who are gonna stop you from leaving treatment are the clients.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that can be like, look at bro, like we love you, we care about you. You know what I'm saying? The staff might say a little something here, a little something there, but they're just like, bro, you're grown. You want to leave? I mean,
Yeah,
there's
the
no
door.
locked doors here, bro. You know what I'm saying? I think there was something therapeutic about that, bro.
Absolutely.
To know that it was the clients, like your brothers, right? Because that's who you connect with. That's who I connected when I went to treatment. I mean, there's a few counselors that made my stay comfortable, that made me realize like maybe there is something to this, especially when I seen those counselors in meetings is when it really hit me. I'm like, oh, these guys are just normal people, right? They're just addicts like me who just happen to work in treatment, right? Because when they carry themselves in treatment, they carry themselves as professionals. But once they're in their natural habitat, right? Just like us, right? Once they're in their natural habitat, I'm like, dude, and now they're my peers. And what I mean by peers, they're my fellow members of a program that I'll give them cakes, take cakes from them. They ask me to come speak here, do all that stuff. So, yeah, but it's the peers, bro. The clients that are like, bro, don't go. We love you. We care about you.
Yeah.
You know what I think the difference is in that one? That one's county beds.
Oh, it is. That's what it is.
And the other ones that are private pay or private insurance,
And
those are the ones where the staff's chasing you down. I've been to both, and I've experienced that in both situations.
and there's such a shortage on the county beds,
Yeah.
right? There's
There's a long waiting list.
you go to Orange County and throw a rock, and you're gonna find a private insurance facility. You know what I'm saying? That you don't even know that it's there, bro. It could be a normal house. It could be a regular office building, right? But like even if you just think about like the Inland Empire, bro, there's not a lot of county beds, right? So there's people like literally right now calling and checking in and
Every
being on
day.
every day
Absolutely,
on that wait list, right? And if you don't call a day, hey, sorry, we gotta push you to the back because there's somebody who called for 14 days straight instead of 13 days, and they
Absolutely.
obviously want a little bit more than you, right? So it's a different environment, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I like that.
Yeah, it is. There's some negative stuff too, right? Because a lot of people that go to the county beds are street people, right? So it's kind of like jail, right? Like I picked up some habits, right, and some ways of living, that were more like jail like than I did before I went to treatment. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I think there's pros and cons to everything, right? But I think the real message is right. Like if you have an opportunity to go to treatment. It's a gift, right? Because not everybody has an opportunity, or not everybody. I mean, fuck. If we think about it, those people on the waiting list, some of them are gonna die before they even get to the front of the line, right?
Yeah.
And then some people who are in, the private pay facilities, right, or the private insurance facilities, are gonna go and they're gonna fuck around, right? And they're not gonna take nothing serious. They're gonna go back out, relapse, lose their job, and they're not gonna have insurance. And then they call guys like me. Right? Talking about like, I don't have insurance. Like, what do I do? And it's like, bro, the best I could tell you to do is go get some county insurance. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like what can we really do? You know what I mean? Obviously, if I was like an owner of a treatment center, things would be different. But if I'm just an employee, bro, like there's not much I could do for you, right? So, I always tell people that, man, like, because I do work in I've always worked in private pay facilities. And I always tell them, man, like, I know you guys take this place for granted, but like, man, like this is a gift right here. Not everybody gets this opportunity to be able to be in treatment, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, even this moment right now, right? This is 3 dead men, right?
bro.
Like sitting at a desk, right, with some mics in front of us talking about hope, bro. Like we have all been through some shit that like most people wouldn't have survived. Most of my friends didn't survive. I have family members that didn't make it even to any kind of recovery room or any kind of support group, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't ever want to get to a place in my recovery where I forget like how important this moment is, like how powerful this moment is, bro. No one ever asked me to be anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Nobody does. You know what I'm saying?
They asked you to leave.
They asked me to leave, right? Or they
Do you
fucking
mind?
shut the blinds, you know what I'm saying? And lock the door when they see you walking up, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so to like, even from like the smallest, you know, platform that you could carry a message at, all the way to like conventions, like they're all important, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does not matter, bro. Even if someone comes up to you at a meeting and say, "Hey, can you lead for 5 minutes, bro?" That's a fucking gift, bro. Because none of us are. I wouldn't say none of us are supposed to be here. Because I hear people say, "Oh, if I got what I deserve, then I wouldn't be here." The truth is, man, like we all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to be alive. We all deserve that, right? But the chances of us getting clean and staying clean are slim to none, bro.
Absolutely.
They're slim to none. So to be able to be here, to be able to be in any treatment center, to be able to be at any meeting, to be able to be anywhere where you're safe is not something that was promised to anybody, you know? So, yes.
And for me, I believe that's the higher power.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it took me a while to rediscover the higher power, like going through the fucking steps, because I just chose to ignore my higher power, you know, the whole time. Thankfully, my higher power was always there.
Yeah.
You know, so when I really needed him and started looking for my higher power, you know, I was able to find him because, again, he was always there, thankfully, or else I wouldn't be sitting here, man.
Right.
You know? But it's cool that I didn't know you guys were alumni for IBRS.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a good place, bro. I went to before when I was going like 13 years ago. I think it was like 2011, maybe
Did you have the
2012.
Wolf Pack?
The Wolf Pack?
No.
No.
Were you Wolf Pack? You remember that?
You know, I just went and did a panel there, and I saw that, but I didn't see that when I was there.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, we were the Wolf Pack, man.
The Wolf Pack?
We did
Yeah,
this whole
they-
little thing in the morning, you know,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
whole reading about the Wolf Pack, you know, yeah. So that was before or after your time, huh?
Yeah, that was after my time. Yeah.
Well, you're still in the Wolf Pack, brother.
Yeah, I need to go back there and
We're
speak,
alumni.
bro. Yeah.
So you've been clean since you graduated there?
No. I mean, here was the thing. So after I went to IVRS, I went to sober living in Ontario, in a fucking ghetto, dude. You know what I mean? They put you off off of G Street and like just real ghetto. You know, so I spent about a month and a half there going to IOP, and I just wanted to get out of that area.
In
you know?
Ontario or in?
It was Ontario. Yeah,
Okay.
Ontario, just ghetto ass Ontario.
And you went to IOP and.
It was off a mountain in Foothill at IVRS.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that place. It was cool. You know,
Yeah.
kickback spot, played pool.
We're going there tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. No, I liked it. No,
Yeah,
it
we're
was
going to a
really,
meeting
really
there
cool.
tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, but I moved back up to Apple Valley, you know, my parents' house, and within 2 weeks I was slamming again. You know, the only difference this time is I didn't stay out. Like I would go out and go on a run, you know, 4 or 5 days, sleep for a couple of days, but I would keep going back to the meetings. Like I didn't realize I was fighting for my life back then because it didn't feel like it because of relapse after
Right.
relapse. I had no desire to get a sponsor, work fucking steps. I'm Gilbert, dude. I got a fucking ego the size of the universe, man. Like I'll figure this out. Like everybody else here, bunch of weak-minded motherfuckers. But me, no, dude. I'm gonna figure it out. I don't need this shit. Like the idea of telling another grown man my deepest, darkest secrets in step 4, no desire to do that whatsoever. The only thing I did go to meetings for in the beginning,
Yeah.
you know,
I think we all did. I
for the
did for
women,
sure.
bro.
I did for
You know,
sure.
and look, if a chick was kind of cute, had a nice body, and half her teeth, I was in that shit, bro. I'm not even fucking around, dude. And that's what I started going for. You know, I sponsored myself for about 1.5 years until my last relapse. I almost had 6 months. It was the day before I was supposed to take my 6-month chip. And this girl that I was seeing on and off the last 3 years of our addiction, we kind of got clean and sober together, of course, right? Well, I guess I had gotten her pregnant, and she aborted the baby without me knowing. And that was the excuse my addiction needed for me to go. I went and got one of those 3 packs of 24-ounce cans. And by the time the first one was done, I was at the Connect's house. Before the second one was done, I had a needle in my arm, you know, and it almost killed me. I remember being in my parents' room or their bathroom. And normally, like I said, I was pulling full loads of 100 units, right? So I thought I'll just half it. You know, here I am with almost 6 months, not using anything and shit. I'm gonna half a load. So when I pushed that plunger, man, holy shit. You know, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was throwing up in the bathroom. You know, I was on the floor kind of shaking until I started coming out of it. And my addiction, you know, like I was glad I was alive, but I heard it in the back of my head. That was the fucking greatest rush I've ever had in my life. The sickness, man.
You get sick,
You
bro.
know? And then that whole night was just miserable. Thank God it was miserable. I was half naked with a shotgun, looking out the window, thinking the cops are going to raid my house for a fucking gram. I was just out of my mind, bro. I was out of my mind. You know, but I went back. You know, I went back the next day, you know, coming down. And everybody's like, all right, man, congratulations. You got your 6 months. You know, and I had to identify as a newcomer. You know, a lot of guilt and shame with that, you know, but it's the fellowship, man. All I got was love.
Yeah.
Welcome back. You know, you made it back. You're in a safe place. Let's start again. And that's when I finally realized, okay, I got to get a sponsor. I can't do it alone. I was humbled. That was it. I'm like, okay, this doesn't work by myself. I had to check the ego, you know, and it was about a week later I got my sponsor, you know, and that man changed my life, man. The first meaningful conversation me and him had, he taught me the difference from sober days and recovery. It was just mind blowing. I'm like, what? Like I was missing out this whole time. Like all my time was sober days, no fucking recovery. You know, once I knew the difference and started working the steps, you know, everything changed. But it wasn't like the steps were easy, you know, because like I was telling you guys, man, my ego is huge. So to do step number 1, surrender and admit my life was unmanageable. I'm like, wait a second, man. I had a brand new house. I had everything. What do you mean my life is unmanageable? I don't believe that, you know. And then to completely surrender, that took a minute. That took a minute, you know. But when I finally did it, you know, and it took a while to really say that I surrendered and was ready, you know. Connecting with my higher power. Number 2, that was fucking hard, because again, I didn't believe in religion, and like I was always thinking the 12 step to fellowship was all religious based, so I was really turned off about it. But the gift of desperation, you know. So I said, okay, I'll try to figure it out. I talked to my sponsor. I'm all, look, I don't believe in religion. He's trying to tell me it's not a religious program. It's a God of your understanding. I go, well, anytime you say God, you know what I mean? I think religion. So he broke it down. He goes, and this was before COVID, you know, when we used to hold hands. He goes, so after the meeting during the serenity prayer, you know, hold everybody's hands. I was like, okay. And I remember sitting there and doing that, and we're all praying, and I felt energy. I literally felt energy going through my fucking hands, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I talked to him. I go, I feel energy. He goes, yes, there's energy. He goes, what else do you feel when you're in a meeting? Like, I feel things are okay. Like, there's something here there's something here. And he goes, that's where you can start on a higher power.
Yep.
He goes, you actually feel scientifically, I don't know what's going on, but I'm feeling it with my own hands. I feel it going through my body. So I was able to be like, okay, I can start there. I can start there. And then he started explaining the God of my understanding. And when I finally reconnected with that higher power, I felt it for the first time. It was weird because the first time I started noticing sunsets, sunrises. In my addiction, bro, I don't remember ever hearing birds. Like nothing. You're just walking around like a fucking zombie, numb. You know, this is the first time I felt alive. So comes step 3, when now I'm going to turn my will and my life over to a higher power. Again, my ego.
Yeah.
You know, I drug my feet because I never put that kind of faith and trust in anything, you know, besides myself. And I failed myself 100% of the time, you know. But that was huge, you know. And even to today, you know, the first 3 steps I do every day. You know, I'm always starting my day off with connecting with my higher power, you know, allow me to do your will, you know, help me be a better man today than I was yesterday. It's always the same thing, you know. Step 4 came around, shit. I'm not gonna lie, I drug my feet. It almost took me a year to do my step 4 because and my whole thing with my sponsor, and thank God he was patient, was I lived it once. Okay, it was violent, it was ugly. I didn't want to live it again. And he would always tell me about the forgiveness part of it. It's all about forgiveness. and I'm just not ready, until I finally got it done. It was like 25 pages, which really wasn't that much if you think about it, but it was, when I finally went to step 5 and shared that with him, fuck, bro, like the weight is just lifted off your back.
Right.
It's like fucking magic. I don't even know how else to put it in words. Like, it's unbelievable, really unbelievable, and then now step 6, the character fucking defects. Here we go again. But even that was a good experience because I was able to identify what I needed to work on, and able to work on it. Now that I've done step 4 and step 5, I felt like a whole different person, so it was easy to kind of identify my character defects. Shortcomings, I didn't understand shortcomings, like knowing you should do this, but you choose not to is the shortcoming. That's the way my sponsor kind of explained it.
Yeah.
It took me a while to understand it, but, yeah, finally it started to take, because now we're in 7, 8. 8 was, I thought, kind of easy for me because I did a thorough step 4. So I was able to identify all the people that I hurt, what I did. So it really set it up. I love how it set it up because I was kind of worried about it. Like, I'm going to have to think of everybody that I wronged, But when you do a good step 4, it laid the foundation for 8. And then 9 came around. That was a trip. Because I had expectations with a couple of people. I'll share quickly with my amends with my wife, my first wife. So I take her to lunch, right? And here I am pouring my heart out. I'm making amends, and I'm expecting her now after and we got emotional. It was really emotional. I let it all out. And I was expecting her to be like, yeah, well, I was a really fucking asshole too. She didn't say nothing. She was, yeah, you're a real dick. And I remember looking at her like, you mother. And I came this close because I got up to use the restroom. I was going to leave her with the bill. I was going to be chicken shit, just be like, fuck you then, and just take off. But, I had to, bro. You don't even know. I was so irritated. But it was a good learning lesson because I tell my sponsees this too. Don't ever go in to making amends with an expectation because that builds resentment. And I learned the hard way. I did pay for her lunch, but and then I just kind of took it on the chin. But it was a great learning lesson. Yeah. And then the rest of the steps, they just fall in order. And now, I'm blessed to do the 12th step for a living. It's how we met. It's been a hell of a journey. It really has. In this recovery, though, I mean, I'll have 5 years April 20th. So next month.
420.
420. It wasn't even intentional. I wish everybody says, did you do it on purpose? No, that's the last time I fucked up,
Yeah.
But in that time, I was able to.
Who celebrated early, got loaded on 419.
Yeah, no, I'm going to make it this so I have the cool sober date. You know what I mean? No, I wish it was cool like that. But now it was just the last time I made a mistake. But in that time, I was able to go to school, get certified, get my certificate, and then get my associate's degree in substance abuse counseling. I started off at Pine Ridge Treatment Center up there in Victorville, then St. John of God, and now at Serenity Lodge where we met. Yeah. And it's just been such a great experience to help brothers and sisters in recovery. Now up there at, Serenity, it's just all brothers. Yeah. Which I kind of like because it takes all that fraternizing out, man, because that was just, it's a chore when you're a counselor and you got to worry about everybody fraternizing. Yeah. But it's finally a job that I'm proud of, I mean, do I make the money I used to when I was driving a truck? No. But I have everything I need. You know what I mean? I have money in the bank. My bills are fucking paid. Food in the fridge. But I love what I do for a living.
Right.
It's priceless.
Absolutely. And then the love I found for myself in recovery. I mean, I don't have to numb myself and hate myself with alcohol and drugs anymore because I love the man looking at me back in the mirror. Right. And I think that changes everything. Self-esteem and love for yourself. And then commitment and discipline. And that's how I conquered my demons. For right now. I mean, it's a lifelong journey. Yeah. But right now, my addictions are imprisoned, and I pray to God that I can keep them that way.
Yeah. Well, it's up to us, right?
Absolutely.
It's up to us and what we want to do, bro. Because, I mean, and that's even for me, right? Like, I have to remember that, like, I could pray all I want, right? And I'm not saying that God's not going to be there and he's not going to open up doors for me, but it's still my job to walk through those doors.
Absolutely. It's
still my job to do the footwork. He's only going to meet me halfway. My job is to put the footwork in. His job's for the results. And, I just see it so many times, bro. Right. And I So I've been the guy, right? Multiple treatment centers, getting high and I got high at fucking IVRS, bro. I got high in their other place, New House. I got high in their sober living. I get loaded everywhere I go, bro. And I've been in the program where, you know, I'm gonna do it my way because Adam knows what's best, and I'm just a fucking idiot who don't know shit, bro. That's the bottom line, right? I think I have something figured out, and I think I like you see all these people, right, who are like paying child support, they have nice cars, they have a wife, they have a family, they have all this stuff, but somehow I got a bus pass, right, and a haircut, and I think I know more than you, bro. Right? That's all I got to my name, bro. It's a fucking bus pass, sober living, right, and a haircut, and I think that I know better than you, bro. And it's so funny because I see it. Right, my brother George used to say, he said, if you stick around here long enough, you'll know what keeps us here. And if you stick around here even longer, you'll know what takes us out, bro.
Absolutely.
Right? And I see it, bro, all the time. I see it. It's like, bro, get to your step work. Get to your literature, right? Get to your God. You know, like connect with your sponsor, bro. Call him.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I have a relationship with my sponsor, bro. Like no matter what I go through, there are moments even recently, bro, in the last 6 months where like some things happen with my kids, right? And I'm like, how do I tell another person about it? This is embarrassing to me. Like what? Like because I want to take on everything, right? If my kids make a mistake, it's my fault, bro. Yeah. Right? If they're getting fights in school, it's my fault. I'm not a good dad, right? That's how my disease gets at me, right?
Absolutely.
But even in those times where I'm embarrassed or I feel like I can't talk to nobody, I know that if I call my sponsor, he's gonna have a non-judgmental attitude, right? And he's gonna help me. And I don't even need. I do need advice, but not like I did when I was clean. I just need somebody on the other line that loves me, bro.
Absolutely.
Right? And I lean on my sponsees all the time. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I got 10 years. Well, I'll have 11 in May, bro. You know? And fucking, bro, when I got clean, there was no way I would have ever thought. I knew I was going to get a year. I knew that because I was like, fuck that. I ain't going nowhere, bro. Right? But to come up on 11 years is a fucking miracle, right?
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that the work has stopped, bro. That doesn't mean that like I get to like slack off. Like I still have somebody trying to kill me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And he's me. That's the fucked up part, bro. Right? He's fucking with me all day, 24/7. He shits with me, eats with me. Fucking, he's right here on this podcast with me, right?
Knows all your secrets.
Knows all my secrets. You know what I'm saying? Even some of the ones I forgot about, you know what I'm saying, that he'll probably bring up in a really fucked up time, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, I don't ever want to, I can't, there's just one guy who shared, he says, I don't ever want to be so recovered that I don't need recovery, bro.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't ever want to get to that point, bro. And I work in treatment. That's how we met. I'm now at another treatment center, right? But that for me, that's not my job. That's not my recovery, bro. Like, it's good to get back, right?
Absolutely.
People try to say like, oh, if you work in treatment, it's not service work, blah, 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 this and that, right? If I work in a hospital, bro, right, and I'm an RN and I'm helping kids save, you know, with cancer and all that stuff, what they're being of service, bro. They're in the trenches, right? Yeah. So me working in treatment, bro, I'm in the trenches, right? And I'm helping and I'm giving back what was so freely given to me, but that doesn't mean that I get to slack off over here. Yeah, that also doesn't mean I don't live in meetings anymore. I got kids, I got all this stuff, but I always make it a point to make sure that I'm staying in contact with members on a daily basis, bro. Yeah. On a daily basis. So.
It's recovery first. And like I convey to the clients, you know, I put my recovery over my kids.
Facts.
Because, I mean, without my recovery, I pushed everybody away. My recovery gave me those relationships again with my family. You know, without my recovery, I will fuck it up again in record time. I'm good at that. Yeah. You know, I'm 100% on messing up my life without recovery. So, I mean, you know, and like I convey to the clients too, I get what you're saying. Like once you hit a year, you could never envision 10 years. Like, I mean, I never thought that being recovered, life continues to get better. I thought it would plateau 2-3 years. Okay, it can't get any better. But it consistently does. Yeah. You know, and it's just trying to give that to those clients. But I love what you're talking about in terms of like, you have to work your own recovery. Like this is a job, you know, I enjoy. I'm good at it, and it's helping brothers in recovery. Yep. However, I got to have mine on point. You know what I mean? And like my sponsees, sometimes I tell the clients, I go, look, man, if my sponsee calls me right now during group, you know, and he's struggling, group's fucking over. I'm out. You know, that's the commitment my sponsor gave to me. That's a commitment I give to my sponsees. If that means I got to lose a job over that, I was looking for a job when I found this one. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm going to be fucking devoted like my sponsor was to me because it worked. It saved my life. And these guys are trusting me to help lead them. So I'm going to give them that same respect. But that's all about fellowshipping because if I didn't have that,
Right.
I wouldn't be this man sitting before you.
And I like how you said, like, recovery is more important than anybody in my life, any job, anything, bro. Because without my recovery, I don't have my kid. Without my recovery, I'm a fucking bad dad, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, they can't come first. But by me putting my recovery first, they get to benefit from that 100%, bro. Yeah. Right? You work a step for you. It's not just for you. You're working that step, and it's going to benefit your kids, 100%. Your mom, your dad, your sisters, all your friends, especially your sponsees, right? Like, it just, like, they always say that the disease of addiction is a family disease, right? But they need to follow that up with, but recovery is also a family process, bro.
Absolutely.
When one person suffers from addiction, bro, the whole family's affected, bro. But when one person's in recovery, bro, I seen that in my life, bro, in my family, bro. Once I got into recovery, bro, that shit started fucking bleeding everywhere, bro. In a good way. Like, my sister got clean because of it. My mom got clean because of it. Like all this stuff, bro, it was just a domino effect, right? Absolutely. So when I'm fucked up, my kids are fucked up. But when I'm in a good place, my kids are in a good place, bro. And it's important that all of us, right, because we're all dads here, right? It's important that we keep our priorities straight, bro. I know what it is. I know what my life looks like without a God. I know what my life looks like without 12 steps. I know what my life looks like without some kind of programming. I know what it is, bro. I'm left to my own devices, bro. I don't ever get it twisted. I don't, like, 10 years is not a juice card to where I could just, now I could just float for the rest of my, I'm well aware that my disease is it's wild and it's alive. And bro, it still tells me that getting loaded is a good idea. Yeah. Right? The obsession to use has been lifted, but the thoughts to use?
Absolutely.
No, bro. And my head tells me, fuck it, Adam, you can fucking drink, bro. That's just going to take a long time for you to hit that bottom. You got at least 2 years before you fucking end up fucking back into a place where you got to. I know if I pick up a fucking needle or a pipe again, I'm fucked. But my head will tell me, bro, you work hard. Smoke a joint and eat a bowl of cereal, watch some cartoons, bro. But I already know, bro. And even if somehow by some miracle, I'm able to smoke a joint and be okay, bro, that's not the life I want, bro. Absolutely. I love being clean. I love recovery. I love the process. I love the people. I love the principles. I just fucking, and I hated it for a long fucking time. Yeah. And now I'm like madly in love with it, bro. I wouldn't have it no other way. Yeah. My life is engulfed in recovery.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, we're the best versions of ourselves ever because of recovery. I'm the best son I've ever been, the best father I've ever been, best husband, all through recovery. But I like how you touched on how the disease is still there. Yeah. Because I got married last year in September, and we went to Jamaica, and it was all inclusive. So there's a full bar, all you can drink, and I heard my disease, well, fuck it, nobody will know. You're in a whole other country. I'm in Jamaica. Not only that, my disease is telling me you're a drug and alcohol counselor now. You got this. You can do it. And I'm not gonna lie, I was triggered. But thank God my wife, she's in recovery too. It was weird too because the people down there, they were rude. They were mean to Americans. You know who the nicest guys were? Right there by the shoreline. Our bedroom was like maybe 20 feet from the actual water. The little drug dealer, that walks the whole thing all day. He was the nicest guy. I love America. I love Americans. But I thought about it. I go,
that's the American dollar.
Cocaine, weed, you name it, I got it. I'm just like, had I had that drink, though, what would I have done?
Yep.
I would have done everything.
Yep.
Everything. I would have probably had a heart attack from so much coke. I mean, this dude's pulling out. It was crazy down there, But, and my addiction's telling me I'm okay to do it. So you're right. It's never going to go away. Mm-hmm. It's always going to be there. And we just have to be strong enough in our convictions, in our recovery, to push through.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Gilbert.
Absolutely.
Before we go, there's a question we always kind of like try to base it around. What do you think has been the most important aspect of you becoming the man that you are today?
Loving who I am. Loving who I am. I don't hate myself anymore. I love the person that I am, the person that I found out. I mean, I used to, honestly, I used to hate people. I hate them. I couldn't stand people. And to find out that that was like my aha moment when I knew I was getting better, as I actually started caring about people. Mm-hmm. you know, and now it's turned into a career, you know, of helping people turn their lives around and watching them and just be like, you know, that inspirement. They inspire me. I go to work. They say that I inspire them. I think it's the other way around. Because all the strength it takes for you to pick up the phone, come to treatment, and then work this fucking program. I see inspirations every day.
100%.
I go to work. You know, but definitely the love for myself and self-respect.
And I do want to say, bro, like, you know, you're really good at your job, bro.
Thank you.
I mean that, bro. You and Ray, hopefully we're going to get Ray on the podcast soon, right? But you and Ray, bro, you guys were some of the best decisions that company made in a long time, bro. And I'm not saying they made a lot of bad decisions, but, you know, there's always places you get bad hires, bro. You know, and I'm not saying anybody that works there is a bad hire. So if you're listening to this, I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, bro, when you and Ray came, bro, you know, I was like, damn, these dudes know what they're talking about, and they have charisma, and they got, you know, I think it's important to make recovery look attractive.
Absolutely.
Right? Because when we're on the streets, gang banging, selling dope, system in the car, all that stuff is attractive, right? That's what I went towards, right? And luckily, when I got into recovery, there's some people who made recovery look fun. They made recovery look attractive. Like, if I could be half the man that this guy is, then maybe I have a chance at a good life, right? And I think you're a good example.
Thank you.
And you carry yourself well, and you stand on your principles there. So that's why I really wanted you to come here. And the cool stories. But, you know, so you have any questions, Mike?
No, I was just going to say thank you for coming out here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're out here
My pleasure.
on a Friday evening after working all week, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gilbert.
But you'll never know unless you walked up in my shoes. As someone who struggled with addiction in the past, how does it feel to be able to give hope to others who are still struggling now?
You know, it's such an honor to be able to hear other people's experiences of life, to see how when faced with the very thing that was sent to destroy you, kill you and take you out forever didn't, but rather you have been given a second chance to give hope and be a light for those who are still in the dark. So don't be afraid to share your message to the world. You never know whose life you might be saving.